If you like what we do and want to see more content from us, check out our Patreon page where we currently have a 7-day free trial available. G'day everyone, Diesel here from Getting Around Oz Camper Trailer Traveling. Really appreciate you joining us today. Today's video is what I've been trying to get to for a while. I've just about finished this job, but I thought, well, if I don't record it now, I'm never going to, with the trip we got coming up and the build that I'm doing on the Ranger and the work I have to do this afternoon. So this video today, I'm going to share with you the 12-volt build that I've done for my camper trailer, which for those of you, if you don't know, is an MDC Robson. Now, this was a much bigger job than I thought. I did have a little bit of help, and I'll get to those in a moment, but the objective of this one was, this is a budget build. I don't have big money to splash out on big gear and expensive gear and all that sort of stuff. However, I reckon I've got a pretty good system for me, and if you're interested in seeing how I've done this job, hang around, grab yourself a drink, make yourself comfy. Let's get into it. Cheers. Okay, so the reason for this build initially was because we had AGM batteries. Now, this is a 2019 camper trailer. Yeah, it's 2024 now, so about 4.5 years old these batteries were. They didn't charge to their full capacity anymore. 12.5, 12.6 was the maximum voltage that they got to. You know, and around 12 volts is sort of about where you want to run it to. So there wasn't a lot of forgiveness when we're going away camping. And sure, when I had a plugged into power, you know, to caravan park or using solar panels on it, it was fine. But in between that and trying to use stuff during the night, I found a lot of the time when I was off grid, I was having to conserve. And, you know, I thought, righto, it's time for lithium. But of course, this one here didn't have the provisions for lithium. You know, I needed to replace the AC charger. I needed to replace the DC charger. The inverter was a 1,000-watt one, which was really not enough for us to do anything that we want to do. So essentially, all that went, the whole bloody lot went out. All the wiring, all the cabling all went. The only wiring I left in this was some cabling around the gauges here. The cabling that came into the camper trailer for charging, from the mains, from the solar panel and those types of things, but everything else completely gone. Another reason for that is because I'm, you know, of the gear that I'm running, I need bigger cables, I need bigger fuses, I need a whole different wiring setup. And you know, as I alluded to before, this was a much bigger job than I thought it would be. I'm not a qualified electrician, okay, so this isn't a how-to do. This is me just sharing what I've done in case you want to have a go at this. But what I have done and what I would recommend is getting in contact with a 12-volt electrician or an auto sparky to get some direction or some ideas. Now, I had help with these, okay, so I had, first thing is I've got to mention Rob, who is a qualified electrician. He helped me move the 240-volt socket in this one from one side to the other side and make sure that was all compliant. So thank you, Rob. I know it wasn't a fun job to do, but I do appreciate it. And secondly, extra special thanks to Cameron from Traveling 12-volt. Now, I'm going to put a quick snapshot of his details up on screen here at the moment, but I will put all these details in the description. Now, he's in the Adelaide Hills in South Australia. If you're in Adelaide, I reckon get in contact with him and, you know, see if you can try and work out something with him. Cameron was fantastic, okay? So what Cameron did, and I asked a lot of questions because I didn't want to guess anything on this. I didn't want to put my family, you know, in any sort of harm, or, you know, I didn't want to have any safety concerns. And I asked him a lot of stupid questions. I asked him the same question over and over again in different words, and, you know, to a point where he was able to get me to understand it. But what Cameron did for me as well, he's basically drew me up I think it was like a 5 or 6 page wiring plan. Okay, now clearly this was open to interpretation for me and to do some things as I needed to, and I did that sometimes. But without Cameron's help, I definitely could not have done this job. The plans that he did for me was great for me to firstly try and get my head around this, because I haven't done anything like this before. I have done the battery setup in the Pajero, but a lot of that was pre-done by an auto sparky. I just had to add some things and chop some things and reconnect some things basically, but it took a lot for me to get my head around it. Now, if you're a sparky, as Rob did, he looked at it and went, that makes sense, it's easy. To me, it wasn't bloody easy. I had to read and read and read and, you know, go through it a million times, but the wiring plan was the basis for me to be able to go into a place to say, hey, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, and, you know, trying to go shopping. Now, there was some challenges around trying to source parts, wiring, bits and pieces, all that sort of stuff. I'll probably leave that to the end of the video. So there definitely was a lot of challenges that I had with this build, but I'll probably leave that at the end. And there's something that I did in this video that I did it the wrong way, and I'm not going to tell you. I want you to let me know in the comments, because it'll be obvious to some of you, but, you know, to someone else, you'll understand why I bloody did it. But in hindsight, I'm going to change it. I just got to get round to it. So again, Cameron, thank you. You know that I couldn't have done this without you, and you were very patient and took time to explain a lot of things that were simple to you, but clearly weren't simple to me, and I do really appreciate that. So give him a buzz and see if there's something he can do for you. He is a camper trailer owner as well, so if this is something you're interested in and you're in Adelaide or, you know, in the hills there, give him a buzz. It was very good to work with. With the gear that I've gone in here, I've gone with 2 brands, so I'll go through those in a little bit. But basically, the AC charger, I went with a 20 amp charger, basically for the price difference between, because I bought a lot of these things around Black Friday and Boxing Day sales. The price of the 20 amp versus the 40 amp was quite significant. It was a few $100. I also felt, well, the only time I'm really going to be using the AC charger is if I'm at a caravan park. And if I'm at a caravan park, I'm there for a minimum of 1 night, probably 2 nights, you know, generally as a minimum, but, you know, sometimes longer. So the battery capacity that I have, a 20 amp charger, you know, at least over a night or 2 nights will be plenty to do the job there. DC charger, I've gone with a 40 amp charger. I've got a shunt in this one as well, a 3000 watt inverter, and battery capacity, we've gone with lithium, we've gone with 200 amp hour batteries. Literally just this week finished testing everything, so everything's been tested now. There is some things I still need to do on this. I haven't quite finished it, but I'm as close as I'm gonna be. So I'd love to know in the comments what you think it is that I still need to do. And you know, again, I would love your opinions. There will be a lot of opinions on this, I'm confident of that, but end of the day, this is what I've gone with, this is what I think is best. But, you know, hey, if there's something, you know, you reckon I could do differently, chuck them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Okay, so this is the inside of the camper trailer here. So the first job was, that's the kitchen that goes under there. So that's all pop riveted in. So I've had to drill out the pop rivets, which have now been replaced to get in under there, because there's cabling that goes behind here and into this side here. What I've done is I've completely sealed this box. Okay, this is where the batteries are. So you can see here, it's actually got the 3 screws there. I've got some foam tape here. I've actually fully siliconed all around here, all through here. Now this side here was, these were vents. So that spot there, so you can see there's 1, 2, and there's a third one just about there somewhere. Those ones, I took the vents out. I've actually got some sort of signpost sort of sheeting, I guess, aluminium sheeting that's been fixed on the other side there. I'll show you in a bit, but that's all been silicone as well. So this box to the inside of the camper trailer is completely sealed, and nothing will, so no gases can get out of there essentially. So first job I did was this 240 volt socket here. This normally goes in the other side there. So what we had to do was, well, I didn't, Rob did it, is run cabling out of here. It goes into literally the back of the camper, is just that back corner there. So it was more of a case of removing this panel from the other side, cutting the cabling that went to the other side here, and just rejoining in here. And this is where the batteries were. So you can sort of still see the holes there from the battery brackets, but this is essentially now storage. Now I fixed the AC charger in there. See, we've got the cabling fixed on there. And there's something about this just isn't quite right. Let me know in the comments what you reckon it might be. Now, on here before there was a circuit breaker. That's now been changed, so all this cabling here was pre-existing. This is what I've added. So I've added these positive and negative bridge bolts here because we've got a few things running back down here. We've obviously got the water pump there, and the cabling goes straight down there into the AC charger, but also round in and under there and through the back here and into the other side. That's the sheeting I was telling you about there. So I've got one there, and one up there. So that's used to seal that. Sikaflex sealant all the way through here, all the way in under there. Everything that was up here before all went out. This is all brand new and all been reinstalled by myself. You can see that the AC charger on that side was an iTech one. I forget what I paid for it. Might have been around 200 or 300. These 200 amp hour batteries, these are Atom Power batteries from Vic Off-Road. I bought this, I think it was on Black Friday as well, something like that, for maybe 450, 460 bucks or something like that. All these items that I've used here, I will chuck a link in the description for you. I didn't mention it before, however, if it's iTech or Vic Off-Road gear, I have got discount codes and a link to use for Vic Off-Road. So if iTech gear that you're after, because I've used 2 bits of gear on this one, you can get 5% off with our code. And Vic Off-Road, I've got a link that you just need to use, and you can get 10% off if it isn't already on special. But check out the links in the description for those ones. So this is the big boy, so 3000 watt inverter here for this one. This is the 40 amp DC-DC charger. We'll see we've got the shunt here, which is an iTech one. I'll show you that one in a moment. What we've also used here as well is a positive buzz bar. Now, this buzz bar here is a custom-made one from a guy that runs a business out of Melbourne. I think it's B&L Electronics. I'll chuck it in the description as well. This one I paid, I think it was 55 or something like that. I think it was around 60 bucks with shipping, but this is actually designed to use for a shunt like this or similar shunts as well. It clearly makes wiring this up a lot easier, as you'll see going up in a bit. Now, with the control panel here, a couple of things I've changed was there was a shunt in there which was providing voltage from the AGM batteries to the voltage meter and the ampage meter, or the amp usage meter. From what I could tell, it only measures what's coming in, and you know, sort of, it wasn't real accurate anyway. So those 2 gauges there, I've just totally disconnected those. I've disconnected the shunt that was there as well, because if you weren't aware, voltage meters with lithium batteries are fairly pointless in my opinion because of how they work. So that's why I've got the shunt in there, but I'll show you that one in a bit. So what I've done, I put in this bridge bolt here. Essentially all the negative connections coming out through here are all going into this one here, and then reconnecting, going in under there, up into here, and up into this connection here onto the buzz bar for the shunt. AC charger has come into here, the positive side of it that is, and gone into the control panel switch, which is there. It's coming out of there, through here, up under here, and into here. So this is a 100 amp A&L fuse in this one here. This is 35mm cable. Battery, as you can see here, I'm going out with a negative. So starting on this terminal here, going out through here, and then out, fire that one there, round into the negative terminal on the shunt there. And the positive side here, going from this battery out into this side and here, and across into here, and making this a positive buzz bar. Now this is a Victron buzz bar here. These 3 fuse blocks here, I've had to source, which was a bit of a challenge, and they were different heights as well, but I sort of had to put some little spaces in here to make them the same height, so they all work up nicely. The advice given to me for the positive buzz bar was make sure the buzz bar goes on the absolute bottom, no washers or anything underneath it, then the fuse, then the washer, then the spring, and then the nut. So the negative is going from the inverter up into here, onto the bus bar here. The positive cable is going up into here, onto this side here. Now this is a 400 amp maxi fuse for the inverter here, being a 3000 watt inverter. We've gone with that size fuse because I'm really only going to sort of use around probably 2200 watts as a maximum. So the fuse versus the cabling we use, that's sort of how we sort of arrived at that decision there. The 40 amp DC-DC charger. So you sort of got it all fixed up under here. So for the DC-DC charger is this one here. The positive comes up from under here, goes into there. Now that's a 60 amp A&L fuse. So they're both A&L fuses. That's a maxi fuse. The A&L fuses were easy to get for the smaller amperages, whereas the 400 amp fuse, I actually found it pretty difficult to find. So that's why I set on a maxi for that one. And for the DC-DC charger, going underneath there, I've got the cabling that runs back up to the car to charge from the main battery in the car, plus the solar input is in there as well. So that's all tied in there. So effectively, positive bus bar is powering the inverter, the DC-DC charger, and the control panel to the camper trailer. Meanwhile here, on the shunt side of things, we've got the DC-DC charger, we've got the inverter there, we've got the control panel there, and then that one there is the AC charger going in there. So you can see why I've used the bus bar there with all those 4 cables trying to go onto that one there. It's kind of doable, but it wouldn't be real neat and maybe put a lot of pressure on the cables that doesn't need to be there. I am going to get a cover made up to cover this positive bus bar here. Now, understanding this is going to be fixed and I probably don't need to. That one there is the cable that powers the shunt, which comes in here. Now, because the box is going to be sealed, I'm not going to have the option to turn on or off the inverter here. So the inverter power 240 sockets, there's one there and there's one there. The screen is there. However, with the inverter screen here, I actually turn it on and off. There it goes. Well, the voltage meter isn't really going to be useful for me, or telling me how much sort of battery capacity I have. It's more about the fact that I can just turn the inverter on and off as I need to. A power cable running from the inverter at this point. So there's a couple of options here. Running the cable out through there into the kitchen, and obviously when I roll out the kitchen, it'll come out there. Or, see there's daylight there. Do I run the cable through there and out through the panel spot there? What am I using for ventilation for this box? This is the part that I haven't quite set it on yet. And so you can see here, remembering this box is completely sealed. There's daylight there. Do I need to put a vent in? Or out through there and out through the kitchen. Now the kitchen box is completely sealed. I've checked all that. But again, you can see there's daylight through there. So that goes out to the kitchen, which is open. So is that a ventilation panel to the outside? And that there clearly is direct access to the outside wall there. There you go, you can see the grass. Let me know what you think. The voltage panel there, I don't need. The amp usage meter, I don't need. These just click in, they can come out if you need to. And that's where I fixed the shunt screen there. This is the iTech World one, so iTech World and Vic Off-Road is the gear that I've gone with. Again, I paid 99 bucks for this shunt on Black Friday, I think it was. So was going to go with another one, but for that price and the capability of it was the best decision for me. So all this I haven't had to change. It all fits on there nicely. This by far, cutting this out, was definitely the most difficult part of this job, that's for sure. And as you can see there, that's the area that goes into the camper trailer. The biggest challenge I had with this job was trying to source parts. How to get were, cabling, fuses, lugs, different size lugs, big ones, small ones, thicker cable. The 70mm cable was really hard to get. you know, basically sourcing this sort of stuff, there was a couple of 12-volt shops here in Perth. I got quite a few things from eBay. There was the business in Melbourne that I got the positive buzz bar. There was a couple other businesses in Sydney and another one in Victoria as well, I think, that I used to get parts. That was by far the biggest challenge of this job, was just trying to get all the gear and trying to get a decent price. You know, the pricing fluctuates so much, and, you know, the lead times to get gear were 1 week, 2 weeks. So I was waiting a lot of different points to keep going with the job. So massive respect to you guys and girls that do this for a living. It's, you know, I'm very impressed with, you know, the work you do and the knowledge you have to put these things together. And, you know, the work that goes into this was far beyond what I thought it was going to be. And don't forget, I got the discounts for these ones. You know, while I picked up a lot of these ones on Boxing Day and Black Friday sales myself, you can get a 5% discount off iTech World just by using my code. The Vic Off-Road 10% off code. You just need to use the link for that one, and it is 10% off if it's not already on sale, but a lot of the time, you know, they have sales already running, so just keep an eye on that one. There you go, that's the setup there. Pretty happy with it, and I reckon it's very good for us. And what did it cost overall? I really don't have the time to work out what it was. I can tell you it didn't cost me near to how much you could spend on one of these systems. Work out what's right for you and what you need, and then try and work back from there, and, you know, sort of see what type of options are there for you. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. I'll do my, you know, if it's about what I've done, I can answer that. If it's more technical stuff, try and get in contact with, you know, a 12-volt electrician or Cameron if you're in Adelaide. They're the guys to speak to about this sort of technical stuff. I'm not going to try and give advice to something I'm just not qualified to do. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video here now. The Ranger's right behind me here with the bonnet up. I've got some more work I need to do on that one there. The build series will be coming soon. I've started doing some things already. So the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty busy. When the videos are coming out, it might be a bit patchy again, because I have to do a lot of work on the Pajero to get it up to take it across the country. So 2 weeks now we're heading across to Nullarbor there and doing a big trip. So hey, thanks everyone for your support. I really appreciate it. And again, you know, you guys supporting me with all this, and, you know, subscribing if you like, and liking the videos and dropping comments, sort of stuff. You know, I love it. I really enjoy it. And it's you're inspiring me. So cheers everyone. We'll catch the next one. Hooroo.